What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another FPL video on the channel. And in today's one, we are going to be looking at my team selection for game week 35, and it really is an important stage of the season. We have to redeem ourselves. We have to find a way to break inside that top 100k. But before we do get into my team, let's have a quick review of how we performed in game week 34.
Manning swinging it in.
Fucking hell. Southampton goal. I knew it! I knew it! I knew I couldn't trust the Fulham defense, bro. Fuck's sake! God, you again! Oh my days, man! I knew I should have just picked him. Oh my days, man! I just knew it. I should have just picked him. What was I thinking? What? Nah! Don't lie to me, chat. Don't lie to me, chat. Has Strand Larsen actually scored? I've not seen it on my phone yet. You better not be trolling me.
Pass on again. Strand Larsen into the box. Oh,
yes!
Unbelievable.
Strand Larsen
Towards the edge of the box. Support from Rodrigo Gomez.
No. No, it's done. It's done. It's done. Fucking. No, I feel sick. No, I'm ending the stream. I feel sick. I feel sick.
Dharma, first time cross coming in.
Yes! Come on! Vamos! Vamos! McAllister across. Diaz! Come on! Give me my FPL.
Because the flag's gone up against Dominic Sob.
That is not offside. If they give that as offside, I'm ending the stream right now. I'm ending the stream right now, bruv. That's what I like. That's what I like. Come on. Salah.
Udogie in his way. Salah's been hit.
Oh, what a goal.
Score today.
Yeah, baby. Run me my points. Run me my points, Mohamed Salah. That's what I'm talking about, rude boy. Let's go. Come on, man. So there we have it, guys. As you can see from the stream highlights on the weekend, the game week 34 wasn't too great, if I'm being totally honest. And we did end up getting 72 points on a free hit, which meant so far a small green arrow up to 285k. However, at the time of recording, there still is one more game left to be played of this game week, right? Nottingham Forest versus Brentford. So yeah, and I've got no players involved in that game, right? So ultimately, I'm going to definitely move down from 285k after that game is finished. But yeah, as I said, man, as you guys saw from that, it wasn't really the best week, right? There was a lot of players that absolutely smashed it, right, in game week 34 that I didn't put in my free hit. Players like Matheus Cunha, players like Trippier, players like Gerard Bowen, right, who are all players I did consider, but I didn't end up sticking with those players, right, for my game week 34 free hit. And all in all, I think it was a massive failure. Overall, I have to say, it is looking like we've absolutely bottled it, right? And the chances of getting top 100k are very, very slim at the moment. I have to be honest, guys. But we are still here today making this video, and we're going to try, right? I'm going to try my best to try and break into that top 100k, man. But we're going to move forward now, and we're going to see what we can do in game week 35. So with that being said, let's go ahead and have a look at my transfer plans. All right, guys, so before we do get into my team selection, I just quickly wanted to run through some of my transfer thoughts for game week 35, and we do have a lot of things to consider, as we could potentially be looking at a -4 hit, but also we could potentially be looking to activate my bench boost chip this week, right? So yeah, this week could be pretty interesting. Now, one thing I do want to say, which is pretty unfortunate, right, is that at the time of recording, we still haven't got confirmation whether or not there will be some more double game weeks for the remainder of the season. We still haven't got that confirmation. So ultimately, things could change. But as it stands, I'm just going to be telling you what I could be doing, right? So yeah, based off the information we have already. So yeah, as you guys can see on your screens, right, this is the move I'm considering for a -4 hit. Foden out, Abdoulaye Doucouré in, Kuzanov out, and O'Brien in. And ultimately, that would mean I'll be tripling up on the Everton assets and also activating my bench boost this week. And you guys will see when I do my team selection sort of what the bench will be looking like. But ultimately, look, I want to speak about Doucouré first real quick, right? As you guys know, Everton, for the last 4 games, right, have pretty decent fixtures. It's simple as that, right? Ipswich at home, Fulham away, Southampton at home, and Newcastle away, right? So I basically am just thinking about Ipswich at home and Southampton at home. 2 of the last games at Goodison Park for Everton are against the relegated sides already, right? These teams have already been relegated. They've got nothing to play for. So I really do look at Doucouré as someone that could be a fantastic differential at just 0.4% ownership. I know it might sound crazy, but ultimately I need to sort of find a way, right? Find these differentials that are going to help me gain rank. I have to do it. There is not long left. It's the business end of the season. It's crunch time. It's now or never. It's simple as that, guys, right? So we have to think outside the box a little bit. And I do like this Doucouré move, as I think not many people are going to be looking at someone like Doucouré. And now some people might say, why not go for Ndai, right? Why not go for Beto? But if I'm being honest, I'm pretty happy with the forward options I've got already, right? I need a midfielder more than I need a forward. So with that being said, I feel like Doucouré could be that player. Now, there is also someone else I'm considering that isn't an Everton player that I do want to bring in. And I'll get onto that in a second. But first things first, let's carry on talking about Abdoulaye Doucouré. Now, as you guys can see, we are on Fantasy Football Hub, and we are just going to be looking at some of the attacking data for the Everton players, and we're going to be looking at the attacking data for the last 6 game weeks, right, ranging from game week 28 to game week 34, because it is pretty interesting. So as you guys can see, right, so far for just shots in total, right, Abdoulaye Doucouré does rank first amongst the Everton players. When we look at he's had 11 shots, as you guys can see here. When we look at the shots inside the box, Doucouré again ranking first amongst the Everton players, above the players like Beto, above players like Ilman and Dye, right? When you look at the expected goals, Doucouré sitting second, right, with 1.16 in the last 6 game weeks. And again, it's not great in totality, but when you compare it to the Everton players, it doesn't look too bad. And when you look at the fixtures, right, that Everton have, the last 2 games at Goodison Park, Ipswich at home, Southampton at home, with these attacking stats, I do believe he could be a shout. And even on the eye test, right, even on the eye test, Doucouré, he's like a box crasher, right? He is a box crasher. He does find himself in the box. He does find himself in pretty dangerous areas, right? Even came close to scoring against Chelsea. I think that header should have probably put that ball in the back of the net. But yeah, man, Doucouré is a player that can get you goals. So yeah, man, I just do like him a lot. And then when we look at the expected points in the last 6 game weeks, apart from Pickford, right, he's the one. He is the one. So I think there is stats out there that does kind of support Doucouré possibly being a very decent option to end the season. But another player that I have actually just recently considered is actually Kevin De Bruyne, right? Kevin De Bruyne. He got a nice rest in the FA Cup semi-final against Nottingham Forest. And I actually do, I just think he will start every game in the Premier League for the rest of the season. And I look at these fixtures: Wolves at home, Southampton away, Bournemouth at home, and Fulham away. And I think he could feast. I think he could feast in these fixtures. I know Wolves are in form, right? They've got 6 wins in their last 6 games. However, we've seen what De Bruyne has done in previous seasons against Wolves, you know, scoring 4 goals. And I just think, generally speaking, right, the last 4 games for City are really good in my opinion. And I am also just looking at this Southampton away game as well, and I think he could just feast in this game, right? So it is almost a question of De Bruyne versus Doucouré, and it is tough because they're both differentials. Ultimately, they are both differentials. Yes, De Bruyne is higher. He's got higher ownership compared to Doucouré. However, ultimately speaking, he is still a differential. He's still very low owned. But yeah, man, Doucouré is someone I am looking at, someone I am considering. I would say I'm slightly in favour of bringing in Doucouré more than De Bruyne. But you know what? If I do bring in Doucouré this week, I think most definitely next week in Game Week 36, I'll be looking to bring in Kevin De Bruyne, because I do think I want Kevin De Bruyne for this fixture against Southampton away. I really do. So yeah, De Bruyne is just someone I've got my eye on, basically. Definitely someone I've got my eye on. Definitely someone I'm considering. But yeah, it is between Doucouré and De Bruyne. And then of course, guys, as you guys can see, right, my other sort of transfer move is going to be taking out Cousinov and bringing in O'Brien. Again, it would mean I'd have double Everton defence. And again, not many people are going to have double Everton defence. And again, who do Everton play as their last 2 home games? Ipswich at home, Southampton at home. I've got to try some form of risk, and I think this is a way for me to potentially gain on the masses, right? So I've got to try and take the risk if I want to break inside the top 100k. So look, double Everton defence, I don't mind with the fixtures they have, but also O'Brien's got that set piece threat, and also Ipswich, defensively from set pieces are not that great, right? So there is an edge there with O'Brien, right? I think he's 6'6", 6'7". He's got the aerial threat. He's got that set piece threat. And as we know, Ipswich have injuries, but also are not really good from set pieces. So yeah, that O'Brien pick could be pretty decent. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for sort of my transfer thoughts. As I said, things could change, right? If we do get some confirmation of a double game week, then yeah, things could change. But this is where I stand at the time of recording. So with that being said, that's enough of my transfer thoughts. Let's go ahead and have a look at my team selection for Game Week 35. Okay, guys, so let's get into my team selection for Game Week 35, assuming that I still go through with those planned transfers. And we'll start things off with the defense. In goal, I've got Areola, and then a back three of William Saliba, Mykolenko, and O'Brien. Now, I do want to point out, guys, right? I would be starting Areola even if I wasn't going to play my bench boost this week, right? Currently, with this lineup, my bench boost is active. However, even if I was to cancel my bench boost, Areola would be starting anyway. I just don't really want to go for double Arsenal defence, and I don't mind playing Areola against Tottenham at home, right? I think, look, Arsenal being in the Champions League, they're 1-0 down, right? They lost at the Emirates to PSG. They're definitely going to rotate heavily. I still do expect Raya to start. I still do expect William Saliba to start, but I expect there to be a whole lot of changes, maybe 6, 7, or even 8 changes to that Arsenal starting 11, and Bournemouth aren't necessarily the easiest team to play against, so I wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal do end up conceding, to be honest with you guys. You might ask, well, why am I bench boosting? But honestly, I just don't really want to wait any longer, right? So I feel like I might as well just activate it this week. So yeah, I just feel like the chances of Arsenal getting a clean sheet aren't necessarily that high. And yeah, as I said, regardless on whether I bench boost or not, Areola will be my starting goalkeeper. But as things stand, because I'm bench boosting, I'm going to get Raya's points anyway. So I'm hoping for an Arsenal clean sheet, but I'm not necessarily expecting one if I'm being truthfully honest. But yeah, we do have Raya, we do have Saliba, we do have Areola, and of course we've got the double Everton defence, right? Mykolenko and O'Brien against Ipswich at home. I like it a lot. They've already been relegated. They've got nothing to play for, Ipswich. So, yeah, man, I'm expecting Everton to win this game pretty comfortably. And typically speaking, Everton under David Moyes have been a pretty solid defensive team, right? They don't concede a lot of goals. So, I'm hoping and I am expecting a clean sheet. And also, like I said, man, I think there's 2 things I want to point out with these Everton defenders. Number 1 is Mykolenko, his open play attack and threat. I actually do feel like it's improved under David Moyes, right? After watching Everton, on the eye test, I do feel like Mykolenko does get forward a lot, and he does get loads of crosses into the box, and he does sort of make those overlapping runs that you would see from like typically an attacking fullback. So I feel like the assist potential with Mykolenko is there, but also O'Brien, right? His aerial threat, his threat from set pieces is really, really good. And as I said earlier, right, Ipswich from set pieces aren't that good. So yeah, man, I'm hoping that this double Everton defense does pay off. But yeah, this is what we've got at the moment. And then on the bench, right, this is my realistic bench. We've got Konate against Chelsea away, Nico Williams against Crystal Palace away from home. So with that being said, let's move on to the midfield. In midfield, we do have Abdoulaye Doucouré, Mohamed Salah, Eberechi Eze, and Morgan Rogers. And on the bench, I've gone for Ismaila Sarr. So yeah, man, look, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Ipswich at home. I'm just hoping he gets the job done. He is a massive differential. A brace would be great. 1 goal, 1 assist would be great. But as I said, man, Ipswich are already relegated. Please, Doucouré, get me something. If I do end up bringing in Doucouré, I'm going to need something. So yeah, man, obviously I've not confirmed the transfer yet. I am just going to wait pretty close to the deadline before I make any transfers, because just in case we get some new information about double game weeks. But even if there is sort of information of a double game week, I still could end up bringing in Abdoulaye Doucouré, man. But yeah, man, I really need him to pull through if I stand a chance of getting into that top 100k. But we've also got Salah against Chelsea away again. You know, I just spoke on Liverpool. I don't really know what to expect, what type of performance to expect from Liverpool. As I said, they've just won the league. They could be on the beach. I will say though, Salah, I still expect him to start. I still expect him to get good minutes as he is chasing those records. I think he personally would want to break those records. He wants to break the, you know, goals and assist record. He wants to break the assist record. So yeah, I think he's definitely going to still try and attack, still try and score goals, because that's just the type of player he is, man. That's the mentality that he does have. But in terms of Liverpool as a team, I just don't expect. I just don't know what to expect from them, if I'm being totally honest. But yeah, we also do have Eberechi, Eze, Morgan, Rogers. Yeah, Eze, Sarr, both playing against Nottingham Forest at home. Honestly, in recent weeks, right, Nottingham Forest, their defense has been very, very poor away from home, guys. As you guys can see here, right, in their last 6 away matches, Nottingham Forest have a really poor rank for expected goals conceded. And to be honest with you, they're actually one of the worst teams for expected goals conceded in their last 6 away games. Only Leicester, Southampton and Ipswich, the 3 relegated sides, have been worse off in terms of expected goals conceded. So yeah, man, there has been a defensive drop-off recently, and away from home they do seem to struggle. And also when you look at the goals conceded, right, they've conceded the most goals along with Brighton away from home, right, in their last 6 games. And when you look at the fixtures that they've had in their last 6 games, right, they've played last 6 away games, sorry. They've played Tottenham away from home, Villa away from home, Ipswich away from home, Newcastle away from home, and Fulham away from home. So some pretty easy games there, but ultimately the point still stands, right, is that away from home, there has been a defensive drop-off with Nottingham Forest, and they have been struggling. So the reason why I'm mentioning that is because I do actually think, right, I do think that the likes of Sarr, Mateta, and Eze could actually do really, really well in this fixture. So yeah, man, positive signs there. And as I said, man, I'm just hoping that those 3, the triple Crystal Palace attack, can really do some damage. They are obviously coming off the back of a really fantastic win in the FA Cup semi-final against Aston Villa. So, you know, the vibes will be at an all-time high, and they're going to look to carry on that momentum into the league, I hope. So yeah, man, I think, yeah, big boy, Jean-Philippe Mateta. As you guys can see, right, I've also got him in the team as well. I might as well go through my attack with you guys. I've got Isak, Marmoush, and big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta as the front 3. And I think, look, Mateta could actually be a decent captaincy option as well. I really do think he could be a decent captaincy option. But as things stand, as you guys can see, I'm actually going to go for Alexander Isak, right? Alexander Isak is going to be my captain. I think captaincy this week, right, is a very, very difficult one. I think there is so many different players you could go for. You could go for Marmoush. You could go for big boy Jean-Philippe Mateta. You could go for Isak like me against Brighton away from home. You could go for Mohamed Salah. If you got Ollie Watkins, you could go for Ollie Watkins. Like, there is quite a few different players to go for this week. But I think, look, I don't want to go for Mohamed Salah captain because, as I said, man, I just don't know what type of performance Liverpool are going to put in, as it is just straight. You know, this game is straight after them winning the league. And I just think Brighton defensively are just so poor. I know there's been a drop-off with Alexander Isak recently. There definitely has been. But I just really want to attack that Brighton defence, man, because I just think they are so poor. So, yeah, I think right now, as it stands, Alexander Isak will be my captain. You know, he's on penalties as well. And I think his minutes will be good. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go for Isak captain. There is a chance... Actually, no, I'm not going to lie. There is no chance I do go for Marmoush captain. I think him being the early kickoff on a Friday, the first game of the game week, nah, man. You guys know the unwritten FPL rule. Never back the early kickoff. And I just don't want to captain Marmoush, who plays first, and then bang, he flops, and my entire weekend is ruined. I don't want that. I don't want that for myself. So I'm actually just going to avoid my captain and Marmoush, to be honest with you. I feel like most people will probably captain him, but yeah, I think I'm going to stay away from Marmoush captain. Mateta is definitely one to consider. When you actually think about, like, obviously I showed you guys the stats, Nottingham Forest's stats away from home in their last 6 games. When you do consider that, I feel like Mateta should be a strong consideration for captaincy. But I would say right now, as things stand, Alexander Isak does slightly edge it for me. I might switch to Mateta. I might, but as things stand, yeah, I think I'm going to go for Alexander Isak. So, yeah, that is how my team is looking currently, guys. And of course, with this lineup, it is most likely, strong chance I do activate my bench boost. But if I don't activate my bench boost, then the starting 11 will stay the same. So, yeah, that's how I'm looking for Game Week 34. Hopefully, we can get a massive green arrow. I need it. Like, seriously, honestly, I need a green arrow. If I stand a chance of getting inside that top 100k, I need a massive green arrow. I need my players to perform. So yeah, let's just see what happens. But comment down below on what you think of my team, and comment down below what your plans are, what your transfer plans are for Game Week 34. And if you've got any questions, let me know down below in the comments, man. But thank you so much, guys, for watching. Appreciate all the support on the channel recently. Smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you never miss an upload. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the deadline stream. But until then, I'm out. Peace.